Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the procession of the robes. Retired Superior Court Judge Elizabeth Barrett Anderson. District Court of Guam Judge Chief Judge Francis Tydinko Gatewood. Superior Court of Guam Magistrate Judge Jonathan R. Kwan. Superior Court Referee Linda L. Ingalls. Superior Court Judge John C. Terlahi. Superior Court Judge Dana A. Gutierrez. Superior Court Judge Elise M. Iriarty. Superior Court Judge Maria T. Senzon. Presiding Judge Alberto C. Lamarana III. Supreme Court of Guam Associate Justice F. Philip Carbolito. Chief Justice Robert J. Torres. Retired Judge and 2025 Hostisia Award honoree, Judge Anita A. Sokola. Thank you so much, everyone. You may be seated. Hafaday, and welcome to the Guam Judicial Center and the Justice Manessa Lujan Appellate Courtroom. My name is Sofia Sanchez Diaz, and I am the Deputy Administrator of the Courts for the Judiciary of Guam. On behalf of Chief Justice Robert Torres, the Judicial Council of Guam, and Administrator of the Courts Daniel Rossetti, thank you for being here today as we honor retired Judge, the Honorable Anita A. Sokola, with this year's Hostisia Award. We'd like to especially thank and recognize the presence of several distinguished members of our community, including Governor Lula Guerrero, Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio, Governor Carl T.C. Gutierrez, Governor Joseph Atta, members of the legislature, including the Judiciary's Oversight Chair, Senator Tello Tydegweed, Attorney General Douglas Morgan, members of the Guam Bar Association's board, including President Jackie Taitano-Terlahi and Vice President John Larson, Secretary Janice Camacho Perez, thank you so much for your presence here today. We especially want to welcome and thank the Law Week Committee members and my colleagues from the management team for the Judiciary of Guam. I suspect today's ceremony will include several examples of the way Judge Sokola has impacted the delivery of justice in our community. But I hope you indulge me with just one quick story because I am particularly excited to be here. In 2004, I accepted a job as a law clerk for the Superior Court. I thought I was going to start in August after the bar exam, and I thought I was going to clerk for then Judge Michael Bradalio, Superior Court Judge Michael Bradalio. But shortly after I returned to Guam, the phone rang in my grandparents' house. That's where I moved because I was a broke law school graduate. My aunt said, "Come get the phone." And I said, I was taking a shower. It was early in the morning on like a Thursday or a Friday. And she said, "Come get the phone." And I said, "Can you just take a message, please?" And she said, no, it's the court. You need to come now. So I quickly got out of the shower and I made my way to the landline at the time. And I said, "Hello." And on the other end, I hear, "Sophie, this is Anita Sokola." I knew who she was because I had looked up all the judges on the website, and she had in a past career been the superintendent for the Guam Department of Education. So her name was all over my report cards as a child. And I was a little bit of a nerd, so that was something that I noticed. She said, "I'd like you to come clerk for me. And my current law clerk is leaving. So I need you to start on Monday." Now, this was Thursday or Friday. And I tried to deflect, and I was After all, I wanted to take the bar exam. And she said, don't worry about Judge Berdalio. Don't worry about that. It'll be fine. Just come. And quite honestly, she was right, because I showed up on Monday. The criminal jury trial did indeed start, and it was actually fine. I passed the bar that summer and spent a year and a half clerking for her. And in that time, I learned well that for sure we should think carefully about next steps and potential consequences, but also that once you make a decision, commit. Do the thing, because it will be fine. Thanks so much, Judge. It was a great lesson for a very, very young attorney. I'd like to ask Chief Justice Robert J. Torres to deliver his welcoming remarks.
Afadan, good morning. Now you know why we chose Sophia to be the mistress of ceremonies. The distinguished guests have already been introduced, so I'll just welcome you and thank you all for being here. Your presence is important, not only for the judiciary, but for this year's Hostisia winner, Judge Anita Sokola. I also want to welcome those on our YouTube channel who are viewing this event live. Some of you may have noticed that the Hostisia Award has a different spelling from a couple of years ago. We consulted Comisión y Financiamiento, the recognized authority for Chamorro language policy, to make sure we had it right. Governor Gutierrez, let Lawling Souder know we got it right. Each year during Law Month, we take a moment not just to reflect on what the law is, but to ask what it ought to be, and who should be recognized for their significant contributions to improving the administration of justice and good government. For more than 3 decades, Judge Sokola has served our island in many roles. Before she put on her robe, she stood in front of a classroom, teaching students, leading young minds, and setting the tone for a lifetime of service. I intentionally wore my Lady Justice tie that I purchased years ago at the US Supreme Court when I was visiting Justice John Paul Stevens. Lady Justice is a personification of the moral force in judicial systems. She represents the ideal of fair and impartial justice. Each element of her traditional depiction carries a symbolic meaning. The blindfold reflects impartiality. Justice should be applied without regard to wealth, power, identity, or status. The blindfold emphasizes objectivity and neutrality. The scales, the weighing of evidence. Justice must be based on a careful balancing of facts and legal arguments, showing that each side is given fair consideration. And the sword, the authority and the enforcement. Justice has the power to enforce laws and administer punishment, and it must do so swiftly and with finality. Like Lady Justice, Judge Sokola presided over general jurisdiction cases, juvenile matters, and treatment, balancing the demands of the law with the courage to look someone in the eye and still see their potential. And when others might have chosen a one-size-fits-all approach to punishment, she chose the harder path, to understand, to intervene, to give people a reason and a way to move forward. In every role she's held, Judge Sokola has been guided by the same steady principle that government exists to serve the people, not the other way around. And after she stepped off the bench, she continues to serve as a volunteer, a mentor, and a steady hand, helping to revise the very rules that guide our courts. That spirit is exactly what the Hostisia Award is meant to honor. For her years of service, her sound judgment, and her steadfast belief in second chances, the Judiciary of Guam and the Law Month Committee are proud that she is the recipient of this year's Hostisia Award. Congratulations, Judge Sokola.
Thanks so much, CJ. I'd like to invite for the distinguished address, Governor Lujan Guerrero to the podium.
Thank you very much, Sophia. Half a day. Chief Justice and Justices, judges, and members of the court, and of course, senators and all distinguished guests here. Thank you so much for to come up and say a few words about Anita Sokola, Judge Anita Sokola. And you know, I didn't know Anita till I happened to meet her in Hawaii in the airport. This was like maybe 10 years ago. I don't remember the exact year, but she and I got to spend about maybe close to a good 2 hours together talking at the airport. And from those discussions, I felt I knew her. I felt that I her to be a good friend because we shared the same principles and philosophies. We talked about culture, and we talked about the importance of working hard to preserve our culture and to preserve our language and to preserve the great values that make us a culture, the values of compassion, kindness, generosity, but most of all, the value of fairness. And we both talked about what we actually talked about, how we wanted Guam to be. And she focused a lot on working with the youth generation, because they are going to be the leaders of our island, how we need to support them. And I sort of asked her, how do you run your court? I always wonder what is in the judges. And her philosophy and principle, equity, gender equality, human rights, social responsibility, corporate responsibility, diversity and inclusion are all the basis of her principles and values in looking at how you implement the rule of law and how you get good government. It's those values inside of her that make her, I feel, a great judge with objectivity, fairness, following the law, rule of law, good government, administrative justice for all, and most of all, supporting good government for our island. I left that conversation, really felt attached to her. And when she retired, I thought, gosh, we got to get a board. And it's the board that Speaker, I think it was Frank Bloss, the commission. I got a former G and judge because she had a conflict. And then Anita got on the board. These are good people that are tasked to use their expertise, their knowledge, and their understanding about the rule of law to review the laws and to revise them and to make them much more applicable and practical to the circumstances that we live today. So my experience with Anita, although I don't see her every day, I don't talk to her every day, but she's the kind of person that you still feel very connected, even though physically you're not. Because why? Because of her values and principles and philosophies of what good government is. So I left that lunch, or I think it was breakfast, drank a lot of coffee, had to go to the restroom a lot when I was on the airplane. I left that feeling great respect and admiration for former Judge Municipal. Congratulations, Cindy. Well worth, honorable, and proud of you being the recipient.
Thank you, Governor. Governor Carl T.C. Gutierrez is now invited to the podium to deliver the keynote address.
Good morning and have a day, Chief Justice Robert Torres and Justice Carbolito, Governor Lulian Guerrero, Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio, Attorney General Douglas Moylan, Chair of the Committee on Judiciary, Senator Tello Tagui, Governor Joe Ada, I see him today, and honored guests. It gives me great pride to be here this morning in the Manessa G. Lujan Appellate Courtroom to help pay tribute to a daughter of Guam for her lifelong commitment to serving our people and advancing the cause of justice. The Honorable Anita A. Socola, Alice Socola, retired judge of the Superior Court of Guam. I could easily stand here today and recount Judge Socola's great work experience, or the leadership role she has served in, or the impressive title she has held, or the consequential cases she handled as an attorney and judge. But I'm sure these were all conveyed in the tributes by the three branches of government, as Governor Lulian Guerrero so well put forward. Instead, if you will indulge me, I would like to spend a few moments sharing a more personal reflection about the woman I know simply as Anita Tamilian Letsit. A Dedibu girl, but with Samaganites roots from the time in the 1950s, when the wretched clan lived not far from my own family, next to the Dolong clan, the Bell family, the Vergara family, and the Tomas Garrett Garrido clan. Long before she put on a black robe, and even before she became a lawyer, Anita was always doing something in service to the community and standing up for the rights of others. Whether as a school teacher, an education administrator, a public defender, or a private practitioner, representing clients ranging from the Chamorro Land Trust to the disenfranchised Mamopli. She was never someone driven by a desire for accolades or self-enrichment, but always driven by the desire to help those most in need of her services, those who need someone to advocate on their behalf. As a lawyer, Anita never shied away from representing individuals who would never have the means to pay her fees. In fact, even when she refused to take monetary payment from some of her clients, they were so grateful for her help that they insisted on paying for her goodness however they could, even if they weren't paying Anita with a tulay or from the bounty of their humble farms. And she graciously accepted because she understood that allowing them to make these offerings was an important part of respecting their dignity. I would venture to guess that there were very few lawyers here today. I really would venture to guess that there were very few lawyers around here today who would forgo their legal fee for pangdantan manyahat or tial, a basket of vegetables, as Anita often did, all in the name of justice, service, and respect for the needs and the dignity of others. Soon after I was inaugurated as governor in January of 1995, Attorney David Lujan shared with me similar stories about Anita. And while David probably would not have settled for a bag of BS in lieu of his fees, he greatly admired Anita's heart and passion for public service, especially when it came to our grassroots people. In fact, David suggested I appoint her as my attorney general, but that was not an offer Anita seemed too excited about. In due time, however, I would have the opportunity to place Anita in a position where she could apply her experience, compassion, and dedication to justice in a new and important way. And I am very glad that this time she accepted my offer. In my last full year in office as governor of Guam, I was called upon to make what would be my final judicial nomination to fill a vacancy in the Superior Court of Guam. In contemplating my decision, I remembered the stellar qualities David Lujan and others often shared with me about Anita. And so for me, the decision of whom I would nominate came very easily. I chose someone who reflected the same beliefs I valued most. Someone who went out of her way to assist anyone who came to her for help because she knew that what may seem like a small problem to others was very likely the biggest problem that person was struggling with. Someone who, although small in stature, if you look at her, was a giant in the eyes of those whose lives she touched simply by giving them the attention that many others would not. Someone who was driven by the same ideals that has always driven me as a leader and a public servant. That is the importance of helping the marginalized, the forgotten, those in our society who need someone to stick their neck out for them. I chose someone whose work ethic and dedication reflected the customary and humble Chamorro upbringing that shaped my own life. Though I am more than a decade older than Anita, we both came from a generation of Chamorros shaped by the occupation and early post-war years in Guam. A generation for whom that intense sense of community, of looking out for our neighbor, was ingrained in all that we were and all that we did. I nominated Anita because I knew she would carry these values with her to the bench, and I have never regretted my decision. Anita discharged her judicial duties with fairness, thoughtfulness, and a relentless dedication to striking the appropriate balance of justice and compassion. She was stern when she needed to be. I am sure no one liked to be on the receiving end of her stare down. To see those eyes bubbling out when she looked down. I was there one time witnessing that. But she also believed deeply in giving people a chance to turn their lives around. This was especially true when it came to the juveniles who appeared before her, who made a real difference in the lives of others. And so, Anita, congratulations on this well-deserved honor. At your very core, you epitomize everything the Hostisia Award celebrates. Si Zuros Nasi Patori Milano, esta papagod, tauta, pudi man joven, dyan man estudyante, pudi komunidad, dyan pudi kausan Hostisia. Gaibali ibidamo todo, una dami dorsuzo. Si Zuros Nasi, thank you very much.
At this time, we are going to present the Hostisia Award and the Judicial Council resolution in recognition of the distinguished honor. I'd like to invite Associate Justice F. Philip Carvalho to read the Judicial Council resolution.
If you don't mind, Sue, I'll just do it from here from the bench. And I've been tasked with reading a very detailed Judicial Council resolution. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that. I think the speakers have all captured the spirit of why we are all here this morning. And let me just lay the foundation for the Chief Justice and the Judicial Council members to make the presentation. And the Hostisia Award, as former Governor Gutierrez has very eloquently articulated, is presented by the Judiciary of Guam in annual celebration of its Law Day. And it's an award recognizing a community member that has made an outstanding contribution to improving the administration of justice and good government. And you have just heard a snapshot of what some of the attributes that Judge Secola has exhibited throughout his career, which are quite detailed and articulated in this Judicial Council resolution. So let me just say that the council adopted the resolution and resolved that the Hostisia Award be presented to the Honorable Anita A. Secola in recognition of her dedication and unyielding pursuit of justice for the people of Guam. And I just want to add my congratulations, Your Honor. It's been an honor and a privilege knowing you and working with you during the years that you have been on the bench. And I thank you all, and Mr. Chief Justice, the resolution is now ready for presentation.
That's all members of the judiciary. Please join me in the front, and we'll present the resolution along with the Hostisia Award to this year's honoree. This and join us, Francis, and join us. No, we give them the announcement. Yes, follow these. And this lady is from Justice Catherine Merriman. Justice Merriman is unable to be with us. She's still recovering from her surgery, her knee surgery, and she really wanted to be here, but was not able to. But had a lady, especially made by our administrator for Judge. Let me just say, the Chief Justice and all my colleagues, we here presenting you with the Judicial Council resolution, which is very eloquently articulated by all our speakers, and we're so proud and honored to make this presentation. And on behalf of the Judiciary of Guam and the Law Week Committee, Law Month Committee, Infinite Law, I'd like to present this year's 2025 Hostisia Award to the Honorable Anita A. Secola.
And now for the star of our show, Judge Anita A. Secola.
Thank you, Sophie. Manan si Zeus, Chief Justice Torres, Justice Carbolito, Governor Lulion Guerrero, Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio, Governor Gutierrez, Governor Ada, Judges of the Superior Court of Guam, Chief Judge Gatewood, Retired Judge Elizabeth Barrett Anderson, Judges of the Superior Court, Mr. Kwan, Ms. Ingalls, the
Administrator of the Court, Ms. Rossetti, Senator Tello Taidagui, Jackie Terlahi, President of the Bar, our Attorney General, Mr. Moylan, and Mr. Morrison. Good morning, all of you. And good morning, colleagues, friends, and family. I begin this with Mana Sidzuus. I must start this by saying how truly honored and humbled I am to receive this award. I also would like to thank, above all, God. And I thank all my family who are here today with me. Thank you for being here. My friends, my colleagues, throughout my life have been my support and inspiration to achieve success. I share this Hostisia award with you. As a kid growing up in Derrida, I always questioned why things were the way they were, nagging my parents, my mom and my dad, to know, for example, why is Guam is where America's day begin? Yet we here in Guam are not treated like our brothers and sisters in the mainland. My thirst for greater knowledge and understanding was the driving force for my initially becoming a teacher and later an attorney, so I could do my part in making our island fair and more just and a better place to live. I was fortunate in my 36 years of public service career to be a teacher starting off at Simon Sanchez Junior High School and later to be appointed the Director of Education by Governor Atta. Thank you, Governor Atta. As a lawyer, I was the legal counsel for the late Senator Don Parkinson in 17th Guam Legislature. I was a defense attorney in private bar, as well as a public defender for about 4 years. Later, I was appointed to be judge of the Superior Court by Governor Carl Gutierrez. Thank you, Governor. And during the full spectrum of service and learning each step of the way from those who blazed the trails before me and from those around me in the classrooms, in the courtrooms, people who supported and inspired me along the way and without whom I could never have achieved success. I deeply respect them all, and I owe them all sincere gratitude. Sidzuus Ma'asi. In my career, I especially learned that we have a shared responsibility to making a meaningful difference to the lives of others, especially those most vulnerable amongst us. For me, it meant understanding people's circumstances and being empathetic and compassionate in finding solutions to their problems, soothing them. And as a judge, I was especially passionate about the treatment courts, drug courts, mental health court, juvenile court, family violence court, all of them. This is where people had a second chance to improve their lives and those of their families. I do firmly believe that we are all God's children, all of us, and we must do what we can to help turn lives around, or possibly rehabilitate those who can be, but also holding them responsible. I am happy to see the importance that Chief Justice Torres is placing with the treatment courts today. Thank you, CJ. You're saving lives. Thank you. After 36 years of public service, I decided it was time to retire. Yes, I can now travel more, but also spend more time with my family and friends freely and not have to worry about being, objective or not objective or seeing somebody or not seeing someone. I'm free. It's free. Honestly, it feels good. I can talk to anyone. There's it. It was time to leave the bench, though, to the next generation of judges and justices to carry out the torch, carry it far. But I still tried to play a part for justice on our island, and I am pleased and to have accepted Governor Lou Leon Guerrero's appointment to the Criminal Law and Procedure Review Commission, where we meet regularly to review the criminal statutes of our island to ensure that the laws make sense and are in order. I am a member also of the Elderly Justice Advisory Board, where we look at how we can help our manamko have access to legal services, be it free or just to talk to them. I still teach personal law at the University of Guam every semester, and thanks to Zoom, we call it Zoom, but thanks to Zoom, I am able to do all that I can while traveling at the same time. Once again, I want to thank Chief Justice Torres and the Familya the Guam court family, for honoring me this year with this Hostisia Award. And those who nominated me, I will find out who you are. And we'll go to lunch next week before I leave again on my next journey off island. Duncan Maasi to all of you who came here today. You are all part of what I am. Thank you. I share this award with all of you. And to my mom and my dad who are in heaven, this is one for you too. God bless all of you. God bless Guam. Sidzuus Maasi. Thank you.
This concludes our ceremony for today. Thank you all for the privilege of your time, attention. Judge Anita A. Sokola. Viva Judge Anita A. Sokola. Viva Judge Anita A. Sokola.
If I can ask Governor Leon Guerrero, Lieutenant Governor Tenorio, also Governor Ada, Governor Gutierrez, and all of our jurists to come and join us up here so we can have a group picture along with Senator Taitagui. And then we'll have the AG and Jackie Tulai as well. And